Hi guys, welcome back. And today we get into a different or new version of if function, that is if any. Yeah. So if any as such is a function which returns value when you specify if the formula returns an NA. So if any of the formula returns this kind of error, that is NA, which I have marked in yellow, then it gives you a then it gives you an NA error. Now this NA error can be evaluated to give you an output. So usually when you run a formula and it turns into an error, then what should be the value? Yeah. So if NA returns the value, when your specified formula returns an NA value error. So usually the syntax of if NA function is if NA, the value that you are trying to find, and the value if you get a NA error. Yes. Okay. So let's try one example. So suppose we have this formula where we are trying to find a condition. Yeah. Or let me just try to find anything which will generate an value error. Okay. So suppose I am trying to look up a value. So you can refer the VLOOKUP function in our previous sessions that we have done, or VLOOKUP, and I want to find articles or wooden articles. Yeah. And I want to search this in the category section, and I'll say 1 comma 0, which is for true false condition, and you get a name error. Now this is name error. Now if I try to run an if any function on it and try to say if this function returns an error, then it should return, say, error. Yeah. You see, it is not giving me this particular output when it is coming out with an NA error. Whereas if I try to use this same function, ifs function within an if NA, which is an NA error, now if I tell this function, if there is an NA error, say that NA error has occurred. Yeah. So you can see here that since it is evaluated to an NA error, it is giving me the text which has been inputted if the NA error occurs. Instead of doing that, I could have another formula saying that if I get an NA error, sum of all the expenses. Yeah, it could be any kind of formula. So I'm just trying to show you that I can have a formula within that false condition if a error occurs. Yeah. So I can have a function giving out an error which cannot be evaluated by if any function, or I can have a function if it gives you an NA error, then what should it do when the error occurs? Yeah. So what I have done is if this particular if condition doesn't gives me a value, or if comes to an NA error, then it will execute the sum function. Yeah. So if NA will give you the value if the given function is executed, and if it comes with an NA error, it will execute this particular value. Yeah. So it could be a function, it could be a static text, it could be anything within on the second argument. Yeah. Here you can see in the help text as well, the value is any value or expression or reference. Is any value or reference or expression if it comes to a NA. Yeah. If this particular, the first function over here, the first function or any other reference, if it gives you an NA error, then it will evaluate the next argument. That is the sum function over here. Yeah. So this is basic. This function, in short, is used to uh, run a particular function or evaluate a particular reference, or if evaluate a particular value based on the initial function, if it is evaluated to NA or not. Yeah. So I repeat it once again. If this value, the first argument, if it evaluates to NA error, then the value, if NA, that could be a function, could be a value, or it could be a static text. Anything that is available here would be executed. Yeah. And this is specific to NA for NA error. Okay. So if value, or if value, if NA is an empty cell, if NA treats it as an empty string. So if I, instead of sum, let me have this here. If I have this sum removed, it will treat it as an empty value and it gives me 0 value. Okay. So if I do not give any value here, it gives me a 0 if any error occurs. So this particular function is very important, wherein some of your formulas on execution may come out with an NA error. And to handle that NA error, we can use a particular value which you would be able to filter out and get the relevant errors. Hope I was able to make this very important function clear in terms of concept. Hope you like this video. Do like it, share it across with your colleagues who want to learn Excel. Comment if you want me to cover any topics in this 365 days of Excel journey. And yes, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, because that's how you're going to get all the notification of my future videos on YouTube. And that will also keep me motivated towards creating such free contents for your people. Thank you so much.